You're at Guns 101. It's our welcome message to new gun owners. It's brought to you by the Self-Defense Radio Network. I'm Rob Morse from Self-Defense Gun Stories. My partners here are Amanda Suffolk from Eye on the Target Radio. The guy doing the heavy lifting there, that's Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. In this segment, we're joined by Robyn Sandoval. She's the executive director at A Girl and a Gun. Robyn, lots of people come to you going, I want to become a gun owner. I want to learn what to do with a gun. What do you suggest to them so that they can find a great firearms trainer in their area?
On our website, agirlandagun.org, we have some resources of female firearms instructors. You know, we really service the women's community and women who are coming into gun ownership or maybe have experience with guns. A lot of times women may be new to firearms ownership themselves, whereas their husbands might have been more familiar with guns, or maybe they even had guns in the home and women are now just wanting to learn how to use them. So our community is really set up for the female gun owner, so we highlight a lot of female instructors on our site. But you know, really when it comes to firearms training, you really want to get the best trainer possible. So male or female, here's some tips on how to find a good instructor. First, reach out to your local range, because if you have that one-on-one time with them at the range, that's a really great place to learn. And your range should have some credentialed, certified instructors on staff. If they don't have someone on staff, then they probably can refer you to someone. But a lot of ranges will have certified instructors. Do some talking to them about, you know, what their background is, who were their mentors. Just because it's an instructor that you meet that day doesn't mean that that's the right instructor for you. You want to make sure that you have someone who is patient when you need them to be patient and listens to you and listens to your concerns. I know on the range a lot of women come with questions and fear and maybe a range of emotions. Sometimes women cry at the range. It could be because of exhilaration or fun or happiness, but it can also be because of fear. And having an instructor that understands you and will take you through that process is a really important way to make sure that you're going to enjoy the process and continue on your journey. If it's a bad experience, an introduction to guns, it might not be something you enjoy, and it might not be your skills or the knowledge. It might just be that you don't click with that instructor. So make sure you find someone who has the knowledge that you need, but also the personality that can guide you along the way.
Do you describe what a great instructor looks like as far as how much training they've had, when was the last time they've had that training, or the particular classes they should have had?
Most instructors will consider themselves ever students. And that's a really important skill to look for in an instructor. First of all, you don't want an instructor who's going to, take you on so that you can be a client on social media. You know, make sure that they're not using you to go on Facebook Live and talk about what a great instructor they are. A real instructor will spend time focused on you and your skills. Will start with the basics of safety first, always, and then go into the fundamentals of shooting. So a good instructor is going to take time for you to hear about what your goals are. That's if you don't get an instructor that talks to you about safety and your goals first right out of the gate, take a break and walk away. That's not the right instructor for you. So that should be the first conversation. Second, you do want to know what classes that instructor's taken, what their mentors are, how many hours they've had behind the gun. If they want to demo a drill for you to do first, that would be great. But really, you should have the time behind the gun. If your instructor's shooting more than you are, then they're out to impress and not to teach. So on our website, we have some articles on how to find a good instructor and some red flags to look for. Those are some things that you'll kind of learn as you get into this community. But that's a really great place to start, is at agirlandagun.org, and look into those articles. It'll give you some things to look for in a good instructor.
I think that one other thing that I'd like to add into that, because I think everything that you said was great and it's really a good foundation. The other thing is find an instructor who can come to the level that you are and bring you to the level that you want to be, so that they can talk to you in terms you understand and not use terms that you don't understand, or if they do, then they explain them so that you do understand them. There's nothing worse than somebody who uses all the technical terms without slowing down or coming back and telling you what that means or how, so to make sure that you're along for the journey with them, not just they're just talking to you and you're supposed to, as you said, supposed to be impressed by what they know. If they can't break it down and explain it simply, then they may not be your instructor.
Yeah, and just because someone is a good shooter doesn't mean that they're a good teacher. So you really want someone who can teach it to you and has experience teaching. You don't want to be the guinea pig of someone who's just learning this for the first time. You want to make sure that they've taken some pedagogy classes on train the trainer information so that they can really convey those important skills to you. So even if someone you know has been shooting their whole life or knows a lot, they might not be the right one to teach you. Think about the best NASCAR driver in the world may not be the one to teach a 16-year-old how to drive. So it's that same kind of analogy. Is it takes someone with patience and how to start from square one, like Amanda said, and bring you up to where you need to be. That's a whole skill within itself. So having a strong teacher is a really important foundation and a good instructor.
Let me add to that, Amanda, because I've been so impressed by the good instructors I've met. They inspired me to be a better shooter. They inspired me to become a much better teacher, to just get anywhere near where they are. It's a very creative process. There are a lot of ways to learn something. If you're having trouble with a particular skill, there are a lot of ways around it, and a good teacher will bring you several different solutions, one of which will work for you. That's your bread and butter, Amanda.
It really is, because you'll start down a path, and if the student's not with you, then as a good instructor, you circle back and say, okay, that path isn't working. Let's switch off and move to the right, and let's take that path and see if that path works for you differently or better. Or sometimes you got to just back up another step and then a step before that. I do a whole lot of, I tell them what they already know to get them comfortable in hearing the message, to be able to then tell them what they don't know, and so then it absorbs and it comes together. If you start out and you go too fast, they're like, "Wait up! I can't keep up." So that I think that's part of it. And as Robyn said about clicking with an instructor, there are people that you meet that you just like, this is not my person. Whatever it is, and it doesn't have anything to do with how nice they are. Sometimes there's just people that you don't click with. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel obligated to hire them. Don't feel obligated to make them your instructor. You can just be like, yeah, no, I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to go find somebody that I do click with.
But that takes a commitment on the part of the new shooter to potentially disappoint someone. Yeah, this is the person the range suggested, or he just happened to be there that morning when you saw him with another student, and you're saying, yeah, nope, I'm gonna do the extra work to find somebody that feels like a better fit.
You need to interview them. You really do need to interview them, because when you're done, these are life and death decisions that you're learning how to make. And so you want to have a good life coach, a good life and death decision coach working with you on those things. Robyn, what do you think?
And I would add too that it's worth the investment. You've already invested in this firearm. Investing in the training is even more important. And remember, you're not a tree. You can move. So you don't have to stay with your local range and your local instructor. If you heard good recommendations, or there's a nationally known, nationally respected instructor an hour and a half away, drive an hour and a half. It's worth it to get that instruction from that person. A lot of times you can meet online, and especially right now, in this day and age, more and more instructors are doing some virtual coaching. There's a lot of apps that are available for it, and there's a lot of video conferencing where you can get to know them and do an interview and talk about your goals before you even get to the range. So definitely reach out to other instructors across the country. Many of them travel and do classes around the country, so you might find a class near you that you can get in on. It's not now or never with your local range. If there's someone there you don't click with, or maybe they don't have someone on staff that meets your needs or that can talk to you and teach you at the level you need, there's someone who is out there that's right for you, and you can go to them or they can come to you.
I think that's a great point. And I have one last thing as we wrap up, and that is, it is okay to be terrified as you go into your first class. Every time I decide that I'm going to take another class, I'm always like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to do fine? Am I going to disappoint my instructor? Those are all natural. It doesn't matter what level of instruction you're at. Those are all natural feelings. And once you get there, you'll get comfortable and you'll have a ball. So just enjoy the journey. So folks, we're talking to Robyn Sandoval, Executive Director of A Girl and a Gun. go to their website, look up the trainers, and start your journey.